Everyone moving to Costa Rica is concerned about security. Today I have an interview with one of the private security industry's best experts. We're talking to Terry Anderson from Force One Security today. Greetings from Costa Rica, I hope you're doing well. My name is Matt Rosensteel and today I'm with Terry Anderson of Force One here in Tamarindo, or the Tamarindo area. Terry has been in private security for a total of
40 years.
40 years, 13 of those here in Costa Rica.
Correct.
He currently provides security for approximately 500 clients in this area. So we're excited to talk to you and get your tips today on the security situation here in Guanacaste. Thank you very much for joining me, Terry.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate the chance to introduce ourselves to your clients.
Great. Let's start out, if you give just a bit of background on yourself and sort of your company and where you find yourselves today.
Okay. As I mentioned, I entered the industry 40 years ago. Actually, I started my own security company when I was 21 years old. And I ran that company in the United States until 2007 when I sold it, and in 2008 I moved to Costa Rica and have been operating here since then. My background is extensive. Secured military bases, parking garages, high-rise buildings, banks, credit unions, gated communities. I have a pretty extensive background. My U.S. firm employed 115 people, and we were a general contractor that rather than build homes and buildings, we built security networks and security systems. So I have a very extensive background in all types of security electronics, closed circuit television, gate systems, access control electronics, you name it, we've pretty much got experience with it. The difference in this market is that was my U.S. market client base or product line. This one's a little different in that it's very specialized residential, high-end vacation destination properties, investment properties from people around the world, including locals. We also secure businesses for a lot of the people that we do work for. Okay. And our products here are largely intrusion detection systems, closed circuit television, keyless entry, access control stuff, networking, etc.
Okay. So you've done everything from military bases, commercial enterprises, a lot of private homes here in Guanacaste. For people considering coming to this area, you're probably the person that sees the worst of the worst. You're really the tip of the spear in terms of the crime here. Is Guanacaste a safe area? Is it somewhere that people should be worried about security as a primary concern, or how does it compare to other places that you've operated?
That's a great question. It's security is a realistic concern here. I would say that a tremendous amount of Americans live an entire life without even really considering their security on a day-to-day basis. Security here is just something you need to be cognizant of. Where maybe in the United States you left all your doors unlocked and you left your car unlocked, you even maybe left your keys in the car. This is not a market you want to operate that way. You just want to be a little more cognizant here. You got to make sure your doors are locked, make sure your car is locked, and just be cognizant of security where perhaps you never were.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you, what would you say are the top threats to foreigners considering investing here for their home, condo, etc.?
Well, I mean, first off, it's a tourist-based community, and tourist-based communities around the world, the tourists are targeted. The tourists bring the latest, greatest toys. They bring the cell phones, they bring cameras, they bring cash, they bring passports, they bring their computers, iPads, etc. for their entertainment and for their connectivity purposes. And that's what's targeted in this market. The tourists are targeted, and those easy to carry things that can be sold on any street corner, that's what thieves historically are after here. And it just takes, you just have to, again, be cognizant of crime where maybe you never were. But it's a typical tourist-based community. You just have to be on your guard.
Yeah, that's interesting. based on my anecdotal evidence from where we live in Hunkial, it does seem that, yes, the majority of crime is people taking portable electronics, high value, high portability items. We have had bad circumstances where people's homes get invaded, etc., or burglarized. In terms of people securing their property, what sorts of mistakes do you see foreigners making here, maybe the people who aren't quite as prepared for what's happening around here?
Interesting point to that. So what do we see historically? One, you just commented, call it a home invasion, because it kind of is a home invasion, which is where people leave their doors and windows unlocked, and then somebody goes in the house while they're there and takes things and maybe right out of the room where they're sleeping.
Yeah.
So in this market, you need to lock your doors and lock the windows, because what happens is when you're not looking, all of a sudden your iPad is gone. They'll come in your house while you're sleeping and walk around the house and find the things that are loose lying, and that's solved generally in this market by locking the doors and locking the windows. Hacienda Pinilla, a large gated community here, took 40 guards in their guard service. In 2017, had 22 burglaries in the community that they announced publicly, and of those 22 burglaries, not a single one of them was a forced entry. Every one was an unlocked door and unlocked window. That's the biggest mistake tourists make here.
Yeah.
They're here on vacation. It's Pura Vida, and I'm having a blast. It's my vacation, and they leave the doors and the windows unlocked, and these guys come in. And
that doesn't surprise me at all. That a lot of times human error, and the simple human error of just not locking things, is culpable. And to be clear, I don't think you were picking on Hacienda Pinilla for any particular. It's any gated community in Guanacaste where people leave their doors open. People forget that gated communities here and pretty much anywhere in the world are so large that securing the full perimeter is not going to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Not to put Hacienda Pinilla in a bad light at all, because gated communities suffer the same thing that towns do.
Yeah, but it was 22 unlocked doors, no forced entries.
That's what's the amazing fact.
Yeah.
Not a single forced entry. That's what we see here. What we see here is in the homes that we've been to countless homes that have been burglarized, and we learn out about all the burglaries, about how it happened, where they broke in, where they didn't, where they entered, etc., and how they all go. And over 60% of the time, something was unlocked somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's the big mistake. And of course, the beauty of a security system is that if you're using your system and you're supervising your doors and your windows and your property with a security system, and you leave it unlocked, the siren sound. So supervision with security systems, that's the next level here, where lock the doors and windows, sure, and that's going to solve the bulk of the problems. But then there's more serious guys too. There's the real criminals that aren't the casual thief, doing cat burglary, going door to door. There's another group of guys that they've got a pry bar in their back pocket or a tool.
Yeah, and they're generally targeting properties that are uninhabited in general, or do you get some forced entries with people inside?
Well, yeah, I mean, when it's a forced entry, I'd say that typically there's nobody home.
Yeah.
But the homes that are stolen from are probably 50-50. There's people home and there's people not home.
Yeah.
So because the logic there is that the thief knows that the tourists are carrying their iPad and carrying their cash and carrying the things they want. So it's best when the people are at home.
Yeah. Have you seen a decrease in criminal, these kinds of robberies while tourism has been paralyzed due to the pandemic, or have they sort of shifted into other opportunities looking for those same sorts of electronics?
I would say there was definitely a reduction with the pandemic, but largely it was the lack of ability to travel. It was the fact that the government put so many restrictions on cars being able to be on the road at certain hours of the day, and trying to stop all the travel that was resulting in passing the disease along.
Yeah.
And so things kind of stabilized and shifted a little bit to where empty homes are now being targeted, because there's still the need for cash. The thieves don't normally have a job, so they're out stealing as their employment, if you will. And so yes, we did see homes where, now the toasters are being stolen, and the microwave, and the blenders, and so forth. So
yeah, to make sort of ends meet, because those lucrative iPads aren't flooding around the coast as much anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also been interesting to me. There were and are a lot of people concerned about security given the pandemic. Employment is dropping. People are getting more desperate, etc. Part of me feels that there are professional criminals who do this, whether there's high employment rates or low employment rates, and that there are actually few people who lost their job in the last 6 months who are now going to decide to become cat burglars and start sneaking around homes.
Yeah.
I would just sort of feel that, obviously, with time, we're all concerned about how things are going to work out as conditions evolve. So let's talk about the solutions to avoiding, obviously keeping your doors and windows locked seems to solve 60% of issues that we see here in Guanacaste. What's the next level of security? What sort of system is your typical house secured with? And I know you don't want to be too specific, but what are the main components that you typically recommend for somebody in this area?
Well, okay, so let me answer that two ways. So I mean, first, and I'll say in the U.S. in general, but in the bigger markets around the world, the westernized communities around the world, it's fairly common for a security system to be called a security system if it has a front door contact and 2 motion sensors. And so a lot of people say, oh, I have a security system in my house and it's a front door contact and 2 motion sensors.
Yeah.
Well, that system generally is never used unless the house is empty.
Yeah.
Because the motion sensor is actually walking around. This market's slightly different. Based on my recommendations and experience here, a system should be a comprehensive system. A comprehensive security system is basically a door and window contact on every door and window, including the 2nd floor and including the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Because in this market, we see the guys go vertical. They expect the ground floor to be secured, and they think the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor probably has no security, so a 2nd floor balcony entry is commonplace.
Yeah.
So again, a comprehensive system in this market that is going to rise to the occasion and meet the challenge of the local thieves, it should be door window contacts on every door and window on all floors.
Okay.
There should be a motion sensor in every room in case the thief does not break the glass and open the window or door in order to break in, because now you need the motion sensor in the house.
Okay.
If he doesn't move the door or window.
Yeah, those contacts only determine whether a space has been opened between the frame and the window.
Exactly.
Okay.
5/8 of an inch gap tolerance for movement, but if I break the glass,
you've got a hole.
I'm wide open.
Okay.
So motion sensors are generally the backup technology in the house. When the house is occupied, you bypass all the motion sensors in the house by simply pressing the stay button on the keypad.
Okay.
So it bypasses the motion and all the doors and windows are secured.
Okay.
If I leave the house empty, I press the away button.
Okay.
And then the away button arms all the doors and windows and the motion sensors, and now I've got supervision in the house in case the guy breaks glass and goes into the
Okay.
Okay. So that's a comprehensive system, and sometimes for a lot of clients we take it another level, and we're even using laser technology to supervise the perimeter of the home, where we supervise pools, patios, walkways with lasers that are installed at a high level to allow deer, dogs, cats, raccoons to walk under the lasers, but a person walking into the property is protected.
Okay. Very interesting. And so I know it's impossible to give numbers in terms of, because a property is going to be different, but typically if you're trying to secure a 1,200 square foot humble home with a front door, back door, what sort of price tag can the installation take? Or I assume this is coming with monitoring on your end, and what would be sort of a monthly monitoring cost for your service?
Okay, the overview might be as simple as this. We can put a very simple security system in that's like a front door contact, couple motion sensors, and a key fob to arm it and disarm it. And it's kind of a standalone configuration, just a very simple security system. We can do something for as little as $700.
Okay.
Now, when you take it to the next level and you say, well, I want door window contacts and I want motion sensors, okay? On a home that's 2,000 square feet, 2,500 square feet, something like that, that's going to probably have a price tag in the range of, well, I'm sorry, back up. So let's say, okay, so let's say it's a complete system. We've got door contacts, window contacts, motion sensors, a keypad, an internet connection module. So you have a mobile app on your phone, and you can arm and disarm the system and receive notifications, etc. A comprehensive installation like that is going to cost, call it a 2,500 square foot home, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, something like that, probably in the range of $2,500.
Okay.
Okay? And then if you say, well, I'd like the laser perimeter, it depends on the property, digging and trenching and various concerns, but adding the laser perimeter can add another $1,000 or $2,000 depending on the challenges around the house for getting wiring around. The systems today are all wireless. Generally, all the door contacts, window contacts, motion, smoke sensors, etc., are all wireless sensors. But once we go into the yard and then we try to use laser technology, now we're doing digging, trenching, conduit.
Yeah.
And it changes. It's a little more expensive to do the outdoor stuff.
Okay. So about $2,500 for an average size home with your interior package, and then
comprehensive.
Yeah, maybe a couple $1,000s to also do the laser perimeter as well.
Right.
Interesting. And then follow-up monitoring services. Are you generally leaving your clients in charge of using their app and sort of having their own security response in case a sensor is tripped? Are you guys sitting on your end and monitoring this information for certain clients, or is it sort of what they choose?
Yeah, good question. So we do have central station monitoring, and we have armed response. We have a limited market space just because of demographics.
Yeah.
But we are able to provide the armed response element basically from Avianes up into the Porchero area.
Yeah.
Once you get south into Junquial and Nosara, or out into the further into the country, it's just too far out of our reach based on the opportunity for business. Our central station, however, can monitor a system from anywhere in the world. So we have a lot of clients that we still monitor for, even though we can't offer armed response. But that monitoring it's a beneficial service. I mean, in the sense that everything that the alarm system does is recorded at the central station on a computer receiver, and all of that information becomes valuable when you're doing analysis after burglaries or penetrations and things like that, as well as historical service needs.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm sure most of the contacts also have, or a lot of clients have, somebody in their neighborhood, perhaps a security guard if they're in a gated community, that you can communicate with when you see problems arise in a house.
Yeah, so when they are remote properties, and generally we work with them to help provide a local service provider. So for example, if they have their own security guard in that area, we can dispatch their security guard if they're too far out of our reach. And even neighborhoods work together, where the neighborhood crime watch committees are, working together, and we can send information to them, because the systems basically send internet-based notifications to an app, or we can actually install GSM communicators, cellular communicators that will send text messages to people around the world. Anywhere in the world, you can get a text that just says your system was armed, your system was disarmed, you had an alarm event, etc. So everything is capable of sending notifications, communications, and text, and it works. It works well, especially now with the better internet services being available here with fiber optics and things of that nature. So those are godsends. Everything we do now is IP based and connected to the internet. And you have to have reliable internet for these technologies. And
for sure.
And fortunately, that's happening.
It's happening now everywhere, even down in Junquial. They are installing and have installed fiber optic internet to enable some of these security systems. And I know now a lot of neighborhoods are going from their old security approach with guards on motorcycles to thinking about, wow, we could have cameras on a perimeter with a much smaller guard presence, but much more tech involved, because we do have internet now. So it's
that's actually one of the things that throughout my entire life I've been brought into properties to do, which is to use technology to reduce the expense of guard services on property. We did this all over the Southeast United States in 12 states. We're doing the same thing here. We're looking at the cost of keeping a caretaker on the property or a guard on the property, the aguinaldo, all of the various expenses that go with that, and saying, let's use technology, and you eliminate that annual recurring expense.
For sure. That personnel for homeowners associations can be 90% of the budget. If you want to keep a 24/7 guard staff with an additional person on motorcycle at night, you're looking at 4 full-time employees, 365, and it gets costly very fast, and you see those HOA fees start to climb for sure. Terry, it's been great speaking with you. If you're interested in more information about all aspects of expat life, please subscribe to my channel. It would make me feel personally great. Today I've been with Terry Anderson from Force One here between Tamarindo and Huacas. He has over 500 security clients he's helping in this area. I really appreciate your insight. Thanks very much to you for watching. I'll hope to have Terry back on so we can have more information in the future. Thanks for watching. Pura vida and have a good one.